Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer, and I'm coming back with an exciting episode of our podcast series entitled G100 Oneness and Wisdom. As you know, we love to introduce our awesome country chairs. And today I have joining me our Oman country chair, and let me invite her to the screen. Please join us. How are you doing today? Uh,
Hi, how are you, Jennifer? And good evening, everybody.
there we
I
go.
am very happy and delighted to join you today.
So we have Raida, who is our country chair for Oman. And today I thought we will have a conversation to find out a little bit more about Raida. So, Raida, I'm going to give you the flow for you to talk a little about, and then I'll go into my questioning, which I always love to do. So, take it away, Raida.
Fair enough. So, hi, everybody. My name is Raida Rashid Al Lamki. I'm from Oman, and I'm currently a coach. My life has been a lot of changes from uh, being a very career oriented person or woman. And then I had to take a break for my children, and then I had to go back to work. My life has been all about adaptability and reinventing myself. I
Wow.
was born in Egypt. I'm originally from Oman, but was born in Egypt and had to change schools every 3 to 4 years. That
Hmm.
extended to my career as well.
Right. So, I'm curious. So, why on earth were you having to change schools 2 or 3 years? I mean, what reason?
Well, my father was an ambassador,
All right.
so
Okay.
I
Okay.
was born to have changed since I opened my eyes. So I wasn't even born in my own country.
Okay.
It was something that I was used to do, and my brain wasn't really, uh, th- you know, uh, realizing that this is change. It was
Hmm.
just part of something that I had to do
Okay. So
throughout
it
my
comes
life.
so it comes quite naturally to you to be adaptable. But I'm curious because I've known you for a while, Raida, and had the privilege of interacting with you. Um, I found it fascinating when I was speaking to you earlier on that you actually have a company, and I'd like you to share the name of your company. What is it?
So, yes, as I said earlier on, I was a very career oriented person.
Hmm.
And when I had my children, that was the turning point of my life because I had to stop everything.
Okay, so
And
I'm going to interrupt you there. So when you say stop everything, was it a personal choice, or did you say, okay, fine, work, being career oriented is cool, so I'm going to take my career, but I'm going to put my career on the shelf right now because my children are the main focus. What made you, what happened there?
see, I had to make that choice, and it was definitely a personal choice because I wanted children so much, and it took us few years to have them. So when I had my daughter, she wasn't in the best health condition
Okay,
when I first had her, and so she was in the ICU when she was first born, and I didn't want to anything to distract me from her because I knew that she needed me the most, as a child who is fragile, who has no one but me, and I didn't have any family around. And it
hmm.
was I needed to make a very important decision at the time to take that break and then just give this whole being all my time and attention.
It was something rather so amazing. I didn't know this about this part of your life, but it so resonates with mine. It's really remarkable. I mean, probably that's what brought us together to actually connect. But I had no idea because the same thing happened with me. My daughter was born and she had all those situations going on, and I had to take a break from my corporate career. So fascinating. Please
And
carry on.
it was a turning point of my life, honestly. And so when I decided to go back, she's a healthy 12-year-old girl in middle school now, and she's
Mashallah.
doing very, very well. I have a son as well. And so
Mashallah.
he's 10. They spend most of their time at school. And I thought, okay, now that they are at school and I have all this time, I need to refocus in what I wanted to do.
Mm,
But when I wanted to go back, I had to make a very, very, very difficult decision. Should I go back to what I've done all along, sales, marketing, strategy, where I was very successful at,
mm,
or do something else where I actually stumbled into coaching by chance because I wanted to educate myself again. And so I went to speak to my professor and said, you know, I want to do my PhD. And he was like, do you know what you want to do it in? And I was not sure, but I've done, strategic marketing. That was my master's degree, where I was a top graduate for that degree. And I thought, I'm not the same person I was
mm,
all this time that has passed.
mm, mm,
And I
mm,
felt at the time that what could I do to give back. So
mm,
when I went into this research, we were around I believe 11 scholars,
mm,
and we had to write a book, and it was a research about different companies and what are the success drivers of these companies during uh, the changes that happened in the world
mm.
with COVID and with the
Oh, yes.
market downturn. And I realized that the major driver was the leadership. That really intrigued me. What made him so successful?
Mm-hmm.
And sitting with him, and when he said, when you want to serve anyone or when you want to go into business, and he draws this dollar sign on the paper, he's like, this is the last thing you should think of. You should think of serving. And I was very, very inspired by his words,
Mm.
and I wanted to know more about leadership and how
It
certain leaders
impacts. Mm,
could navigate through change that quick. Not only that he navigated through change, but with every uh, change in the world, he was able to grow his business. So in the 2008, when the market crashed in Dubai, he hired 1,000 people. And then when COVID hit as well, they hired 400 people when everybody was shutting down.
mm,
And so I thought, okay, I want to study leadership. So I did the Maxwell leadership.
mm,
And then I wanted to know, but why?
mm,
Why should we ask certain questions
mm,
in
mm,
coaching? Or why are we studying certain things? And that why led me to the neuroscience leadership, understanding the brain and how the brain functions.
mm,
And
mm,
then from there, I went into mind shifting,
mm.
and from there, I went to red teaming. So it was a lot of things that I stumbled into,
Into. Mm,
realizing that this was the path that I should
mm,
lead. Now, of course, a lot of insecurities happened
mm,
uh, on the way doing this, because I did take a break. And I'm sure I'm
mm.
not the only woman who has gone through this.
Totally. And just to add to that, it is remarkable how we all, whether men or women, when we are coming into massive change, uh, what occurs, I think, and I think that it's pretty uniform for everyone, is that we actually go through this area of confusion and, oh my God, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right choice to make? And I'm quite sure that many of us have actually been through it. But having said that, just to just to give a little bit more to the context of what we're talking about, is any change is always new. It's always new. Um, we haven't put our foot into it, okay, because we're so afraid of what might happen based on our experiences of the past, right? Because the mind is only functioning from, okay, I have a system that actually has been through something. So let me just go back and check how it's going to work. So I think most of the time it is fear, the false evidence appearing real. It doesn't allow us to step into anything. But I'm really interested in knowing what made you shift. So please do carry on.
And of course, going back to Tahir, the company that
Yes.
eventually we started, me and my husband, who uh, encouraged me as well with it. So after doing all of that, I did as well do some soul searching. At the time when Tahir came, uh,
So let me again stop you. What does Tagir mean for the
Tahir
listeners?
is the Arabic word for change. And being in the Middle East, I thought for people to resonate more
Yes.
with it, I thought it would be best that we have an Arabic name so people
Makes
could,
total sense. Total
yes.
sense. And it's also educating the rest of the world that there is something over here that is called change, and it's called Tagir. Beautiful.
And we all go through it, no matter what language is it.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
usually it resonates more when it comes from somewhere that you are originally from.
Exactly.
And
I think that
and
makes a lot of good marketing sense. So you used your marketing acumen here too.
I
Bravo.
have to tell you, this was not as much marketing as much it was, it was just that feel.
Mm,
And
mm,
after you take a lot of time
mm, mm,
with yourself and reflecting, and
mm, mm.
every name that came across, I'm like, no, that doesn't resonate with
Resonate.
me. It doesn't work. And I just said تغيير. And I remember as well, my husband then, why change? I'm like, because this is the thing that we have to go through. It's the only constant in life is change.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the only way you could grow from change is you need to learn to adapt and reinvent yourself, and you keep learning, because once you're static and you don't move, you will not grow. You'll become obsolete, and a lot of companies have failed.
Exactly.
From my research before even starting Tagir, I've realized what made them actually grow was the
Mm,
fact that they changed quickly, and they
mm,
were they were easily to adapt to any situation with the right leadership, with the right clarity. And a lot of people think that this happens only within companies, but we are all leaders of our lives. We,
touche.
as a mother, you're the leader of your household. You
Exactly.
lead your children.
Exactly.
As teachers, you're a leader, for the students.
Mm,
So leadership, a lot of people think that it's only about, the CEO in a company, but no, we are all leaders. As mothers, we're leaders. As
totally.
employees, we're leaders.
As community members, we're leaders as well. So it really goes. So, so having said that, very inspiring, Raida. I really, really enjoy that because it so resonates with who I am personally and what I do. But having said that, so your main focus in Riyadh, in your organization, is it to deal with people, or is it to deal with people within businesses, or is it to deal with people on a corporate level only, or in teams within the corporate? Could you shed some more light on
So,
that?
so
Because
what we do, that it is personal, because there are a lot of products or services that we offer are for individuals and for organizations. So
wonderful.
there are many solutions that we offer for, let's say, individuals. Within organizations would be some kind of coaching and courses. And then there are other things that we do as well for organizations when it comes to culture change, and when it comes to team dynamics and team growth. So it's part of how, the whole thing comes together.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no company without people.
That's the thing. And if
So
the people are, I think what is shifting now, and I see it. is that we have been focusing in the past more on profit, more on performance, but we have forgotten the people. If we were to shift the equation and turn the tables over, why were we doing all of that? And who was doing it with us? We forgot the people. So we had them at the lower rung. So I think now that is flipped over to be able to look at people because people are the most valuable asset in the organization of any organization. And uh, the way that I have seen it is that we've had so many policies and procedures that have been put into place using the old systems. Okay. And my question to everyone that I have worked with has been so, who created those policies and procedures? And they said, well, our people did, our HR department did, and the stakeholders. And I would go, right. So, when was this created? Oh, we've had this, up and running probably 10 years back. We actually did that. So I said, do you think in the time frames that we have right now, with all the change that is happening, do you think it might be possible for the policies and procedures actually to shift and change based on the requirement that is prevalent right now? And they would go, oh, yes. Okay. And then the next question that I would ask is like, so again, if we're the ones who created the policies and procedures, do you feel that we are victimized by those policies and procedures right now? Or is there any hope for us to actually take the charge of being the change in action to create policies and procedures that will assist us to grow and to explore, to do more? So,
I
what are
would
your
tell you
views on that?
a personal experience. And before that, let me tell you, there are a lot of leaders right now or CEOs that I've spent time with or researched or even coached who are very well aware that at the time that you need to grow, you will need to work around these systems that are actually stopping you to grow.
Exactly.
These are the systems that are hindering your progress or growth. I'll talk
Absolutely.
about a personal experience when I got pregnant. And as I said, it was something that we waited for so long. And I went to resign from my post when as I got pregnant, not knowing what was going to happen. And I remember my manager or my boss at the time said, "So why do you want to leave?" And I thought, I really can't come to work. I was 9 months pregnant already.
My God.
At 7:30, being at the office at 7:30, because I'm not even sleeping very well. So to make it on that time, it's not going to be possible. And I don't want to put anything on record because I've had such a clean slate and I've been doing so well. I thought, okay, let's stop where I'm at the peak of my
Exactly.
performance, then have
Yeah.
a letter or anything that says that I'm not doing well. And he gave me a very very good answer, and for that, they say that some managers that come, you will never forget them, not because they gave you a raise but how they made you feel.
Feel.
And what he said was, we make the policies and so we can amend them. And
Wow.
this was the free zone. So we're
Wow.
talking about handling all these companies, and for somebody to stick
Yeah.
himself for you, stand up for you. And he sends an email to the HR saying that this is one of our valuable employees and she should be able to come in when she can. She'll make up the work for it. And so I received that exception. And
Wonderful.
that exception was done because I had proved myself at that time. And because I've seen at the past when people came in late, they would get warnings. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm not going to get that warning. But for him to say that,
Mm,
you realize that these things are possible. But
exactly.
we decide or we choose to make these procedures that we've created or the company has created, as we say in Arabic, the Quran, or as you say, the Bible. but you change it. We're humans. So if
Yes,
life keeps on changing, how can't you change these procedures and systems that were there before most of us had even joined those
exactly.
organizations?
And they're all antiquated anyway, so they really don't serve the purpose of what it is that we would like to achieve. And that's why, I mean, we have amazing jokes about how people just conform to perform. And I keep saying, can we just reform that so that we can be more adaptable, as you mentioned earlier? So right up, what do you sense from a perspective of this change that we're talking about? How does it impact us, our own inner circle? That means our family, our businesses, and our communities and the world at large. What are your views on that? Because I believe having everyone's input on these kind of topics is so vital because it's not about one size fits all.
No, no.
Okay,
And
so
research shows that not every brain is alike.
exactly.
We know that that everybody has different handprints, and that is for crimes, and that's how we know of. But
Mhm.
research says that even as brains, every brain
It's
is
different.
created differently. The way we learn, the way we react to things is different, and you could add more to that when you're a woman. that's that's even that's another level, because you're created differently than a man. And I feel that when I had to go through a lot of things, there were things that I started realizing that who you are as an identity changes. And I believe we had this conversation before, you remember, and I didn't even realize that until we had the conversation. And it was like a highlight that I'm a different as a mother. I'm a different as a wife. I'm a different person as, and with that as well, you change. You
Right.
When you're a mother, when your child is an infant, you have to treat them differently, and then they grow older as toddler, you treat them differently, and then when they become teenagers, you as well treat them differently. So the change doesn't only happen with you physically, as you grow, your body, but it also changes with how you react to yourself first, and then react outwards.
Mm.
And if you do not change, then you won't grow, and your inside really needs to align with your outside. And a lot of us, and I think I've been guilty of that, that I would fight with myself thinking that I'm the same, but my outside is not allowing me.
Mm, mm,
With work, or even with my child, I can't keep on protecting that child.
mm,
It needs me to let them go. So I will have to align. And that is a self discovery, or I would say a reflection that I needed to do. And I always tell people, you know, knowledge is power, but knowledge about self is empowerment. You're empowering yourself
totally, totally.
when you sit and take that time and reflect. And as you said, with your family, you do need that support. You need to have everybody in,
Mm, mm,
and whether it is your support group
mm,
as well. You need to realign that thinking with people who think like you.
mm,
And that would also be, if you need somebody professional.
exactly,
Sometimes it takes an army
exactly.
to help you grow.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. It's so you've so beautifully said that. And as you were talking about, us growing physically, but we also grow mentally. And it is so amazing to see that all of that. So when you're looking at your child as an infant, when you're looking at your child as, starting school or, becoming, going into the higher schooling and also to college. later on, the way that we approach them actually needs to shift and change as well. And I think it all starts from home, quite honestly, Raida. And we as women and mothers play such a vital role. And yet, and I, it's so beautiful to see because you're all of that, and yet you come back into you being you. So we are born with adaptability. We are born with change. We are born with transformation as our in our core, especially as mothers and especially as women. So I think when you say that we need to empower ourselves, because any change does not happen on the outside. It always has to start within.
True.
And then that emanates on the outside. So brilliant take. Thank you for that. So now we're talking about let's go into the G100 Oneness and Wisdom platform that for which you are the Oman country chair. My question to you is, what really inspired you or resonated with you for you to say, yes, Jenny, I'm going to be on board? What exactly? I mean, what
Honestly, Jennifer, it's again what I've been through. I think with the G100, that helping women, mobilizing them and mentoring women, it's something I've been through, and I would have loved to have access to something like this, to have that support of women who went through it.
yes,
And
yes,
not only that, I feel that I would learn from the G100, but as well that I could share my expertise, my
exactly.
experience, and collaborate and network with like-minded women from around the world,
Oh,
and having the different experience of different cultures. We always think that a woman in India would be different than a woman in America. But at the end of the day, you'd be very, very surprised how many of us go through a lot of similarities. I
exactly.
mean, you'd think that it probably only happens maybe in the Middle East, that we're not very open about our emotions, or we don't speak. But I have friends, from across the globe, who are probably from, Europe, who don't
Hmm,
have that open
exactly,
relationship, maybe
exactly.
with mothers, and especially at certain generations, that
Mm-mm-mm.
they were not allowed to be
Exactly.
emotional.
Mm,
And at the same time, there's a lot of demand for women right now. you
exactly.
know you need to carry. There's a lot of single mothers out there that need to support their families.
Mm,
There's a lot of women who are also not married and still need to carry themselves, or carry their parents.
mhm,
So the changes, and as well the support that all these women need,
mm,
and having to do that for million women, it
mm-mm-mm-mm.
just gives you that inspiration and motivation. We learn from each other.
I think
We
that is the most
inspire,
important. Exactly.
and we keep each other going, and
Exactly.
we need that. At the end of the day, we are human, and it happens that no matter how professional you are, no matter how good you can be, at the end of the day, at times I will be down, at times I will need the support. And what better other half to actually do that is somebody who's just like you, and it's another woman. It's so sad. I was reading the statistics, and it was even a presentation my husband had done, and it says that 56% of women think they're not liked. you
Really?
know
Wow.
exactly. And then you have another 56, and then you have another 62% of women who don't believe in their own abilities.
Mm,
68% of women don't think they're intelligent. And then you
unbelievable.
also have 85% of women who think they're not attractive. So imagine these statistics, and the way we come across so strong, but inside, at the end of the day, we are fragile. That's why we can be
Mm,
mothers. We have that, emotional side.
mm.
And to speak about these vulnerabilities is not easy. A lot of women do have these insecurities. I had it when I had to stop my career and then going back. Am I still good enough? And how
True,
are people going to
true.
accept me doing
Mm,
something completely new from whatever I have
very
done?
true, very true. And what you're saying is so amazingly accurate, and that's why I think we as G100 Oneness and Wisdom are looking at up leveling how people show up. When we're talking about becoming aware, different programs that we do, we're talking about rejuvenation, how your mind and body and being can actually resonate and co-create with one another, because it's all about connecting with you. And I think that is where we have such tremendous support, where G100 Oneness and Wisdom has. And the brilliance of the whole exercise and this whole movement is that we are all unique, okay, in
Yes,
our own awarenesses, right? But the underlying energy and the operating system that we have is coming from the space of oneness. And for
yes,
me, it is like, wow, what an amazing way to actually make it possible. So yes,
very true.
I was inspired by that. And I think Dr. Harbin Arora Rai, who's the founder, she resonates with this so deeply. And when I heard her speak, and I said, I got to be part of this too. So I'm so happy that you feel the same way. And
It's the beauty, I think, of it, of complementing each
exactly.
other
Mm,
and helping each other grow
mm.
and supporting each other through the hard times. But the best thing about this, it's not only about the hard times, it's also about
The
happiness and
celebration,
joy.
yeah,
And
exactly, exactly, exactly. And as I always say, because we are unique and so different, if we were to focus our attention on what makes us unique, okay, and uncover and discover that, quite honestly, then there will be no space for us to actually compete. Because then
exactly.
we come into completing one another. And that for me is like, it's like a breath of fresh air. So having
Yeah,
said that,
we're born to stand out. You're born to be unique.
yeah, but
You're not born
it
to.
actually, that is it. So if it's as simple as the nose on our faces, but what is it that we are trying so hard to try and fit in, to fit in, to be validated? And I guess it comes from the different levels of how it is that we are emotional and how it is we are resonating with situations outside. But I think we too should actually create a program together, 4G100 Wonders and Wisdom, to help people see how the mind can actually be shifted into a way of thinking that truly promotes and activates you being seen and being heard is in your authentic self, and then how that can actually facilitate change and transformation in everyone around you. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. We're doing quite a lot of things, so please feel
Yes,
free to
you
connect.
know, I believe that we also need to be able to learn from each other. The minute you compete, you're not learning
Exactly.
from the one. I learn from my daughter every day, and the other day she was talking about something, and I felt, are you worried about it? And so she tells me something so beautifully, and she's only 12 and a half, and she says, you know what, mama, it's a problem for my future self, not now.
Wow.
So when a little child says that, you're
Amazing awareness.
a
The
mother.
heart takes a beat of joy.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
And I
wow.
said, what did you say again? She's like, it is a problem, but that's a problem for my future self, not for me right now. So I'm going to just keep going. And when my future self comes, across this issue, I will deal with it.
But the funny thing
Then,
is, the way that she's thinking right now, Raida, is the way that by the time she does get to the future, it would have already been resolved. The way
she
that she
kind
is
of
being.
said something. She did kind of say something like that. But I remember we had this chat when you said she's an old soul.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, I learned from her,
which
and
is
I get
a
worried.
constant. The funny thing is this, that we always think that we have to educate our children all the time. But
Yeah.
within that education, if we were to, I observe Sasha all the time. Like today, she taught me a lesson
Oh,
today
okay.
while going to work. And I was saying, Sasha, can you please hurry up? Sasha, can you please hurry up? We got to go. We got to go, you know. And just she stood there and then she just gave me that look. What's your problem, woman? That kind of a look. And I said, do you realize that you probably will miss the transport? And she says, Mama, we will be on time. Don't worry.
And were you?
I was going a bit paranoid because someone was waiting to take her to work, right? So then
Yeah.
she said, don't worry, Mama. I'll be at work. But she also saw that I was really, upset at that moment. And then she looked at me and then didn't say anything and went to work and sent me a message, Mama, I'm on time, before time. I'm good
Wow.
on time. And that was like, hello, what is why the rat race? Seriously, you've got to actually simmer down, to stop, to
Sometimes we
listen,
do that.
and to ask questions. The SLA that I keep saying all the time. Sometimes all of us have to become a little more aware of the brilliance that surrounds us, especially our children. They are phenomenal teachers.
Yeah.
It's not
And
that
our
we have
support
to.
group now with the oneness and wisdom, as I said before, we're humans. So we fall into these traps. Like
Exactly.
you today when you said,
Mhm.
we need to go. And then you need that reminder from somebody else to tell you, take a deep breath. And it's not that something you don't know. It's not that something
Exactly.
you don't
You need a
realize.
reminder. You need a shot.
you you preach that, and you tell us that all the time in our meetings as well,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes you need to
yeah.
just take that break. But as a human, you do
Yes,
fall into the traps of life.
absolutely. And we've got to be, we don't have to make ourselves wrong for it. You know what I'm saying? What usually happens, we make ourselves wrong because we have to maintain, this is who we are. Like I was maintaining being the awesome mom today, till I got a whack in the face, like energetically, like, what's your problem? It's okay, And I just stopped and I saw her and still going a bit paranoid, but it was so amazing to actually see that she knew that she was going to be okay. And I, as the mom, was going a bit paranoid. But then again, as you say, we're human. So let's not
We
be
are.
hard on let's not be hard on ourselves. Let us all cheer ourselves on, into becoming something great. So um, before we go, I always like to ask, right? All our country chairs is to, if we were to go away today taking some words of wisdom or your golden nuggets,
Oh,
what would you like us for you to share with us that will actually take us into the next step of how we can approach our life, our living, our work, our communities, our families, anything that you know for a fact has worked for you and has worked for many people too, and many people out there may not know. And if you'd like to share, so that we can actually take some amazing wisdom from you today.
well, Jennifer, I would speak from the part that I'm a perfectionist in everything I did. And so whenever I needed to do something, it always had to be perfect or nothing. And it hindered me. And I think what everybody should know is you need to believe in yourself, and you're perfect the way you are. Your abilities were given to you just the way they are, because they're perfect for you. You are good enough. You don't need anything or anybody to tell you otherwise. And you are, an independent person. Yes, all of our conversation was us being somebody, belonging to somebody. you know when I said I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, or I'm a friend, but at the end of the day, I am me. I am Raida Rashid Al Lamki. I will not take any of these people with me when I'm no longer here. I will take me. And once you are happy with you and you're content, then life would be easier. And you wouldn't have to sleep with any, guilty conscience or worries. And just make sure whatever you do, your inside aligns with your outside, and everything will flow from there.
Wonderful. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were actually speaking to Miss Raida Rashid Al Lamki, our amazing Oman country chair, with her words of wisdom that she has shared today and her personal journey that inspires me and inspires, I guess, many other people who are going to be able to hear this today or in the future. Thank you very much for taking the time, Raida. It's been an honor and a privilege always to learn from you, to grow with you, to be you sharing your amazing insights and how it is that we can complement each other, which is what it is. Oneness and wisdom is all about. So thank you very much for taking the time, and bye bye for now.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye